Welcome to the Redeemer University podcast. I'm your host, Zach, and today we are talking about one of Redeemer's newest resources for students, the Innovation Center. And who better to join me to talk about it than the center's very own director, Harold DeVries. We talk about the vision, purpose, and opportunity that the center provides to Redeemer students. If it is your first time here, make sure to like and subscribe, share with a friend, and check out some of our other episodes that explore various aspects of Redeemer, Christian education, and so much more. Thank you for making us part of your day. And with that, here we go. And I am so excited about today's episode. It's going to be a treat if you're watching or listening. But I do encourage you, if you're listening to this episode, you might want to check out YouTube because we're going to be showing some pretty cool stuff. I have none other than Harold DeVries, the director of the Innovation Center at Redeemer University. Harold, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Zach. It's great, and it's great to see you. Since you moved out down east, we don't get to see you much, but thank you. It's wonderful to be here. So thank you for asking me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And Harold, I'll be honest here. I've been wanting to do this episode for months. I'm sorry it took this long, but I'm so glad we're doing it. And I have no doubt that you have some stories, some information to share. And for anyone who doesn't know, today we're talking about the Innovation Center at Redeemer University. It's a pretty new center to Redeemer. And maybe could we just start with that? Harold, when did the Innovation Center open, and what's the purpose or the vision behind it?
Sure. Well, and we've only got so much time, so I can't babble, right? Okay.
Let's take it. Let's do it.
Okay, so the Innovation Center is new. We actually had our grand opening at the end of September of this year. Right. We did a soft opening last year during the Redeemer's 40th anniversary, but the official grand opening, the official launch was on September 29th of this year. The time it was great. We in lieu of a ribbon cutting, we had 3D printed a chain. And it was great. As soon as we sniffed the links of the chain, it fell to the floor with a clatter, as if to say, "Okay, the chains are off. The center is open. Now we can get on with the mission that we have in front of us." But this was a center that was created, and it really came out of the current strategic plan for Redeemer. And if I may, paraphrase the second key initiative of Redeemer's strategic plan, which reads, Redeemer will prepare students to become innovative, collaborative, problem-solving, critical thinkers who are enabled to use their gifts and skills to serve the people of God's kingdom in all areas of their life. Now, if we're going to do that, that means, and given the pace of change within the world today as we see just on a daily basis, we have to think differently. We have to come up with new ideas and think differently about how we approach things in life. And that's really at the core of what the center is all about. We're here to encourage and challenge be they students, alumni, faculty, staff, just to think about things in new ways, to look at all the possibilities that God puts in front of us to come alongside and serve the people of his kingdom, to really express that sense of empathy and to find solutions that we can use to demonstrate God's love to them by doing things like helping them solve problems. So that means we have to think about things in new ways. And once we have those things, we have to try them. An idea that isn't tried, isn't tested, is just an idea. So we need to try them. So we need to get to explore and experiment and test them. We need to build prototypes so that we can then take it out and make a physical manifestation of it and say, okay, does this work? And once we have something that works, then we can, it allows us the opportunity to build a platform or a vehicle around that innovation so that we can launch it into the community to serve the people of God's kingdom. Here again, an idea, an innovation without the skills of an entrepreneur is just an idea. So we were looking at balancing both of this and building this sense of innovation, finding new things, as well as entrepreneurship, building the structures and the vehicles to help bring those solutions and those new ideas out in the community.
Wow, Harold, it's incredible. Every time I talk to you about the Innovation Center, I get a little more inspired. Like, man, I gotta go create something. And,
Yeah.
and you know,
Anytime, man. Anytime.
well, and again, you talk so elegantly, but maybe let's talk about like practically what does that look like? Like, how are students using the Innovation Center?
Oh, great question. One of the probably the most popular and certainly the most physically represented elements of the Innovation Center is our makerspace. This is a space that we've created on the lower level of the Caris Live and Learn Center, which has been created specifically to allow people to come in just to create, to come and play in many ways. We have equipped the space with 3D printers, sewing machines, Cricut machines. We have a Mac lab with the latest Adobe Creative Suite plus other softwares. I'm speaking to you right now in a place that we call our sound booth, which is a multi-purpose studio for video, photography, sound, and podcast recording. We also have a lending library of equipment that people can sign out to explore their creativity and those innovations on their own time. So that's the physical manifestation of it. We also have a number of programs that we are launching and working on. Since September 29th, we have launched what we call a Venture Creation Lab, which really at this point in time is really allowing me as to use my gifts as a coach and mentor to work with people. Just an interesting aside, let's say tomorrow's January 27th, and that'll mark the 25th anniversary of the day that I started in my role as a business advisor, coach, and mentor. And so it is mind-boggling to me. But as a result of that, this is the way God wired me. And I just love being able to come alongside and walk with people as they take an idea that God has given them and to help walk them through the development of the idea, to refine it and then build those prototypes and test the prototypes and build the vehicles around them. That's what I love to do. That's the way God wired me. So we have a program, an incubator program called the Venture Creation Lab, in which we can work with anybody who comes in at any stage. If you're just at the inspiration stage, cool. Let's talk about what drives you and how you might be able to serve somebody in God's kingdom. If you're at the ideation stage, okay, you've got the problem. How do we build something and test something that could work there? Or maybe you're at the implementation plan. Let's find a way to put a plan together and help you launch that plan, right? So that's the Venture Creation Lab. I'm excited. We already have a number of students we're working with. I think 4 or 5 students currently that we're working with in the Venture Creation Lab. And a wonderful array of different types of ventures that they're looking to create. There's also something really excited about. We've launched the first of our student-run ventures. So we actually have launched the studio. The studio. That's the name of the venture. The studio is a video production company where we utilize the gifts and skills. We have a wonderful media communication studies program here. We've got some brilliant videographers and editors, people who are learning that process, and they're absolutely brilliant and passionate about the work that they do. So we're harnessing their creative energy and their ability to help people with their digital storytelling by giving them a venue in which to do that. We have created this, the studio, which is a venture that provides video production services to people both outside of Redeemer as well as internal to Redeemer. And we're excited to say we've got our first client. We've just as well just sent out a quote to our quoted our second project, and we've also had a couple of other inquiries, and we haven't even officially started marketing yet. So God is blessing us with this, and it's just really, really exciting to see these students coming along saying, oh great, here's an opportunity for me to use my skills, but also to learn what it means and what it's like to be an entrepreneur, to be a business owner, to operate as an independent contractor within the marketplace, and to do so from a position of redemptive entrepreneurship. right? So we can actually position, help them to see how is it that we can choose to respond to God's call for us to operate from a posture of sacrifice and giving, not about being exploiting people and taking as much cash as you can out of them, out of their pockets, or even moving beyond that ethical realm of negotiating win-wins. We really want to be here to demonstrate how we can serve, and from that posture, bless others, and God bless us in return. But with that expectation, right? We're called to do this. How can we do this?
That's so exciting. And so I know I have a few other questions for you, but we got to talk about the studio some more. So like, if I'm like, if I, if in leadership at a church or maybe a high school or a business, like I can come to Redeemer and request these services?
Yes. Now, of course, given the restrictions of working with students, not all of them have vehicles and whatnot. So right. We are looking at the immediate Redeemer community for this at this point in time. But yeah, we're open to talk to people in whatever the walk of life, whether it's a church, whether it's school, whether it's a not-for-profit in the area, even a business. We're happy to say if you need some help and some expertise telling your story to your customers, to your community, we'd love to be able to come alongside and help you facilitate that.
Wow. Okay. That's really exciting.
Yeah, actually, it is. I get goosebumps when I think back at how God has just paved the way for this to happen. There've been some roadblocks, some little bumps in the road along the way, and there will be more. But it's just really cool to see the way that this has progressed to this point in such a very quick, short order of time. So it's wonderful.
Most certainly. And so with that's like video editing skills, videography, like what more does the studio offer?
So video production services, so that would be videography, editing skills. Part of that inclusive in that would be some things that could potentially include script writing, drone photography, right? So a variety of eventually getting into the realm of even music production. Eventually,
wow,
we're not there yet.
Okay,
we're gonna walk before we run.
Yeah,
okay?
That's really exciting though. And if you're a prospective student, that's definitely something to watch out for in the future. And go check out the Innovation Center. Kind of moving on.
The hope is with that, if I could just add to that, Zach, the hope is, I mentioned that this is the first of the student-run ventures. Our hope, our vision for this is that this could become a model for other types of services in other departments and other areas that could involve the skill sets of other students.
That's
right. Possibly a kinesiology, doing an athletic testing service, or an art rental business. So I'm just throwing some ideas around, right? So there are a variety of things that we could potentially offer that give students that opportunity of learning how to operate independently.
Well, Harold, we are about 13 minutes into this interview, and I'm sure our interview, our the people watching or listening can tell why Harold is the director of the Innovation Center, and he's constantly thinking of these great ideas. So that's so exciting. And tell you what, if anyone's watching this and wants to get in contact with the studio for their services, where do they connect?
The studio at redeemer.ca, or they can reach out to me.
Okay, email the studio at redeemer.ca. I will link that in the description below for this episode for sure. Yeah. Let's you know what, could we get on to can you give us a tour of the makerspace of the Innovation Center?
Absolutely. Here we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, so here's the tour. So I'm going to see if we can frame this here. So this space here that we're in, I'm backing up into a corner. This is what we call the sound booth. And you can see just at the top here, we've got this glass wall that looks into the makerspace. We do have backdrops with green screen, black screen. We can eventually add to that. We've also rigged up lighting here. that can also be doubled as microphone stands. So we have different configurations. We have this wonderful podcast setup here that has been probably the most popular thing that we've had going so far here at within the makerspace. A lot of people coming in to use this equipment. Something that your listeners might be familiar with is the new podcast that was launched here at Redeemer called Wisdom and Wonder, which is associated with the Crown, the school newspaper. Let's see here. Now we are in the makerspace itself. This is the major portion of the makerspace. So I'm just doing a panoramic view here, and so you can see the just a sense of context there. So some of the equipment that we have here. We're trying to cover all of the realms of what people might be interested in. So we've got sewing machines. We're into textiles. The 3D printers, of course. What's a makerspace without 3D printers? Unfortunately, we couldn't afford the laser cutter, and that required a lot of external venting and a lot of renovation. So in lieu of that, we have a Cricut machine, which is the same kind of principle, a CNC machine type principle that can cut up to 300 different fabrics and do some complicated, accurate cuts. We have the Mac Lab with our Adobe Creative Suite and a variety of other programs that people can use. What else can I show you? Oh, I got to show you this corner over here. Just forgive that. Don't mind the crutches and the wheelchair here. I was using those for my design thinking class today. But this corner here, we've reserved for an exciting asset that we're getting. Hopefully by next September, we will have our articulated industrial robot will be housed right here.
Fully for sure. Like it doesn't come natural for a lot of people.
And that's basically the tour of what we have here.
Wow, that is so phenomenal, Harold. Thank you for that tour. And I see lots of opportunities there for students to create, to innovate, and bring some life into this world. Right?
Well, that's really what it's intended to do. We don't put any. Within reason, we don't put too many limits on what people can create here. Right? We want to, but the idea is if God places, if you get a eureka moment, you know what those are, right? Those blinding flashes of insight, they usually happen in the middle of the night. If God places one of those ideas in your mind and say, I got to do something with that. We want this area here is to provide you with the tools that you need to create the physical manifestation of that idea. On top of that, we have a number of student associates here who work within the center, who are wonderful guides who help guide people into how to use the equipment so that you can reach that point of expressing that idea that you have.
Wow. And what gets you most excited about what students are doing with the Innovation Center?
What I love is just the sense of creative agency that the students are coming in with, right? I've got this idea. I wonder, what do I do with this? How do I do this? And they're coming in and they're slowly but surely realizing that, hey, we have a place that we can go to where we can actually put some, how to put this? Get some traction on it. We can actually build something with it. We can get the help to do so. I think there's, I'm not sure how to say this. I've got three things running through my mind at the same time. Because I do tend to get excited about just the potential. For me, it's about the potential of what I see in students. And to hear, students coming in with not just business ideas that they're coming in, for example, within the Veg Creation Lab, they're coming in with ideas for ministry opportunities or missional opportunities. We're seeing a wonderful opportunity coming up in this spring to partnership with Resonate, which is CRC North America's global missions arm. So we're partnering with them, hosting what we're referring to as a missional ideation event. looking to bless a local congregation with how might we engage our community in new ways to further the spread of the gospel.
Yeah.
And so we're gathering. So the potential that comes out of that, right? So like looking at new ways to connect with people that are relevant for today in our communities, to say, God loves you. How can we demonstrate that? So having opportunities like that is just, I get goosebumps thinking about it.
That's phenomenal. And I think here, when I think of the Innovation Center and just the potential about it, that's really exciting. But I also just get excited for that student who maybe they never thought about, kind of going after one of those, eureka ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they never thought about starting a podcast. Maybe they never thought about inventing a product that requires a 3D printer or sewing a material of something. And it's exciting that Redeemer students have that opportunity here now with the Innovation Center. And it's definitely like the potential is limitless with it, but I just get excited about that kind of inspiration aspect of, maybe they walk by the Innovation Center and they're like, you know what, I want to spend some time in there. I've had this idea, maybe I try it and it doesn't work out or something, but at least I try, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's cool. I love that. And it's really neat to see how people are just bringing in, well, I wonder if this could work. We have one student, a music student, who came in recently and printed up a saxophone mouthpiece on a 3D printer. Who knew that was possible?
Wow.
Designing, even some of our students here are designing. One of our student associates here at the Makerspace is also a photographer. He's videographer, and he's been 3D printing lens hoods and different attachments and accessories for his cameras as a result of this, just based on what he needs. And here's something that I can create just simply by using the tools we have here and manipulating some of the plans that we find. So you see the possibilities are there, right? And looking
Definitely.
at, which is at the core of one of the main reasons, the main themes around our center, is that concept is design thinking or human-centered design. In our world today, as human beings, we tend to be the type of people, especially in North America, we tend to be the type of people that when we have a problem, we'll look at a lot of the data and pick a solution and say, that's it, we're going to make it work. And if it doesn't work, then we pull, is it appropriate? Can I say the Newfie approach? Because if it doesn't fit, get a bigger hammer, right? So we try to make this way, everything we can, and want to finally give up in frustration. Whereas design thinking is not about looking at data. The design thinking is something that comes out of the commandment to love God, but also to love our neighbor as ourselves. And how do we demonstrate that? By coming alongside and actually feeling and feeling what they feel and experiencing what they experience, so that we can create a solution for them that it will benefit them, right? And I in my talks about the Innovation Center, even in my design thinking course that I'm teaching, I spend a lot of time focusing on the parable of the Good Samaritan.
Yeah.
Right, the Good Samaritan. Here's somebody who is who doesn't just, when he encounters this person on the side of the road, doesn't just pick up his phone and dial 911. He gets the first aid kit. He bandages the person's wounds, and then he takes him to his own hotel room and stays with him overnight to make sure he doesn't die. And if he doesn't die, at least he's not dying alone. And then he pays for his convalescence. Right. So love is an action that we demonstrate to others. And that's really what gets me most excited about the work here at the Innovation Center. We can look at people and what do they need? How can we come alongside and empathize with them and create those solutions? And then create the vehicles around them that will enable us to serve not just one person, but many people from that posture of sacrifice and giving.
Harold, so a lot of people that watch this are prospective students to Redeemer. Well, first off, I'm going to say, if you are watching this and you're a prospective student, make sure to book a tour at redeemer.ca and visit the Innovation Center. And odds are Harold will be there when you're there, and you could say hi to him in person. But what advice would you have for a student in high school or maybe a transfer student from another institution, what advice would you have for someone who, they're looking at coming into Redeemer and they see the Innovation Center as something they want to take advantage of?
Mm-hmm. What advice? Wow, that's a big question.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't prep you with that one.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, but it is a big question, and I think the best advice that I would have is be open to the Spirit's leading. Right? The reason we call them eureka moments, but really those are those moments of insights that really come from the Holy Spirit. And I don't know about you, Zach, but I know myself in my own life when I get these eureka moments, those blinding flashes of brilliance. They usually come from the Spirit's prodding after I've been working on something for a long time. Right? Yeah. And all of a sudden, there's this moment where the Holy Spirit brings them and says, here it is. There's the solution. Right? But if all we do is recognize, oh, there's a moment, that's cool, and don't do anything with it, then it's lost. The opportunity is lost. So I think being aware of the Spirit's prodding in that way, but then also acting upon it. A lot of the stuff that we do here at the Innovation Center caters to, it's a hub of applied creativity. And since it's applied, it means that there's an action associated with it. It's not just continuing to think about something, it's about doing something with that idea. So my advice would be, if you have an idea, do something. Come and play. Come and create. Right? Come and talk to us. Share your idea. Let's inspire each other. Let's find a way to make that a reality. Right? And then we can see where the Spirit leads us with that.
Oh, Harold, I am so thrilled that you are doing what you're doing. I'm excited to see what the Lord does through the Innovation Center at Redeemer in the coming years. And thank you so much for appearing on this episode of the podcast.
Thank you, Zach. This is always a pleasure to touch base, to connect with you. But thank you so much for your interest and for your support of the center here. We've really appreciated it since we started here at Redeemer. Appreciate you and for what you bring to Redeemer as well.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this or listening and you want more information about the Innovation Center or Redeemer in general, feel free to contact us at admissions@redeemer.ca, and feel free to check out some of our other episodes of the Redeemer podcast. And as always, God bless, and we'll see you in the next episode.